Now, we're going to hear the musicians who've been doing workshops in schools across the island. We're going to hear from Ruth, who is a broadcaster herself, and broadcaster and musician, who's going to talk to you a bit about what they've done and what we're going to hear. And Ruth, here is the microphone.
Thank you. So, hello everybody. You may remember me. This is my third year now here at the festival. I'm a presenter on Jazz FM, and it's a career that I started actually quite late. It's something I'd always been interested in, loved music, went to a music school, wasn't a great musician particularly. My other half is a much better musician. But I love music, and I found that it was a way that I could look at various issues that were going on. If I was studying for exams, I always had to have music in the background just to help me get through the nerves and everything. However, having said that, I'm a very organised person, as Orphy will tell you. I like to get things done, put them in their boxes. And yet I love jazz, and jazz goes out of the boxes. It takes you on a journey. It can be quite chaotic. And I do remember, this is a personal story, he'll probably kill me for telling you this, but one of the first dates that we went on, he took me to see the London Improvisers Orchestra. And I just looked at these people who were not playing from a score of music. They were playing an egg cup. They were playing a Brillo pad. They were making the most incredible noises. And of course, I was crazy about Orphy, so I thought, well, I have to show that I was really interested. But out of this chaos and sound came something so beautiful, because it was so pure and so in the moment. And it was so free, and that was something that I hadn't really experienced as a growing up in a classical musician world. And so this is something that we brought yesterday to the school. Can't remember which school it was. Who can tell me which one it was? It was up on the top of the hill next to a big... It was your school, wasn't it? What was it? Prior Park? Yes. So what we did yesterday was we took in a couple of the musicians. There was another school, I think the Loreto school as well. And we asked the kids to actually to listen to the different sounds that you could make, and it was what was in your imagination. And of course the kids are all standing like this first, like I used to, you know, oh my God, I can't do this, I can't do this. And there's a very key comment that is made, and everybody says, how many of you improvise? And everybody goes, no, I never improvise. Well, I'm improvising now. I didn't write down my speech this morning. I've come on stage and I'm improvising. And that's what you do with music. And then by the end of the class that we did yesterday, these kids were making the most incredible sounds, following no notes. It was just hand signals that Orphy is going to tell you about, called conduction. And they were making these incredible sounds out of chaos, and then it went into something quite beautiful. And the difference in the body language, they were all like, this first, can't do it, I look like an idiot, to doing this and not really getting into it when we did the Led Zepp tune, you know. It was great. So that's what we did yesterday. And I'm going to bring on now to the stage the 4 musicians. I know them all very well. They're all excellent. Sorry, my voice is about to go. I've had 2 weeks of laryngitis, as you can hear. So, in that corner, over there, on bass is Lester Batchelor, who is actually part of my youth, I will say. A real great funk band called Atmosphere. It had a major hit. That looks like a ironing board. You're going to do the ironing for us today, darling. Oh, yeah. There you go. Mohammed Nazam is on guitar here. Yes, go on. Dee, female saxophonist, go girls. We certainly have a glass ceiling to break in the music industry. And Orphy Robinson, MBE. We went to the Palace last November. He got an award. And I'm going to ask a few questions just about... Sorry? We didn't see Freddie Mercury, no, we didn't, unfortunately. So I just want to ask, when Yang came to you with this idea of out of chaos, how did you relate to it? Because actually I know that one of the areas of music that you actually love to do is free and improv, and there's no rules, there's no boundaries, no nothing. So tell us a bit how you looked at this question.
Okay, so myself and Dee play in something called the London Improvisers Orchestra, of which Ruth had introduced you to earlier. And some of the music is generated by sort of visual things, signs, particularly something called conduction, which came from an American conductor, musician. And all the music is generated from that through hand signals. So it'll be high notes, little notes, following a graphic score, for instance, louder, quieter, crescendos, whatever. Something like, I think when I toured with him, and I think you had to learn something like 73 hand signals. So you couldn't spend time looking at your instrument trying to play all of that, because you had to be paying attention to his hand signals. Anyway, there are various different methods of generating sounds and music through improvisation. And the idea yesterday with both schools, Prior Park and Loreto, I think the second one was, is that we would introduce them to not necessarily always thinking of music as, I don't know, the music from EastEnders or something you hear on X Factor or one of those sort of things. Music can be many different things. As you know, most of you probably play games on your phones or on, I don't know, PlayStations or whatever it is. Does anybody here put your hands up if you've ever played a computer game? Ha! You see. Right, okay, you can put your hands down. Okay. So all of that music is usually generated by some fantastic composers at home, and not necessarily put in on songs, but sort of moving and working with emotions, let's say. So my fellow compatriots here, they also work within all different idioms and styles. So I play with some of the top classical musicians in the world, and also jazz and funk and soul and all of those things. But I also like to work with just sound sometimes, or just grooving. Just grooving. Have you got another question?
Yes, actually, I did. I wanted to ask you how you felt that the workshops went with the students. For me, it was enlightening. I loved every minute. You guys were absolutely superb at the school. I have to go to the next school next year. Jan, that's my invitation, please. So I want to know how you felt the students reacted to how the subject of chaos.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the students. We had about, I think, 16 to 18, Lester and I, kids, and we said to them, choose any instrument in the room. It doesn't matter if you ever played it before, but just choose an instrument you're drawn to. And then I went through a few of the signs, conduction signs. So one of them could be, this is a sustained note, or like this is to play louder, or with more space. And very quickly they basically got on board, and within about, 20 minutes, I felt like they were really making some music. And at the end of the workshop, I got a few of them to come up and do their own conducting, and it was really good fun. So I was really impressed, and I think it's a great way of working, actually.
One question I wanted to ask of Mo. Mo's very involved in multi-faith, interfaith music groups, choirs, orchestras. And I wanted to, and chaos is quite a theme with all of the different religions and different minorities that we all get together and sometimes agree, sometimes don't. And I want to know, how did you manage to explain to the children what your out of chaos meant?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say hello to all the people at Prior Park that we worked with yesterday. Hello, Prior Park students. Let me hear you say yeah. Okay. Okay. It was, well, we didn't really, what I like about doing those kinds of workshops is seeing the look of fear in their eyes when they first walk in, and how that fear breaks down once we do some getting to know each other. And I think that's the important thing about music. In whatever context that music is made in, what it facilitates, what it allows is for people to get to know each other in a way that bypasses any kind of any of the misunderstandings that can arise through words, because words have got dual meanings, at least two meanings, and sometimes more. But music really comes from inside and comes from the heart, and it can communicate directly to another person's heart. And I think that's really what we're trying to do with all the music that we do, whether it's with workshops, whether it's with each other, or in whatever context we're doing it. Does that answer your question?
10 out of 10, gold star. Lester on the end. Now, Lester is a great funk bassist, and Orphy is a jazz musician, but also he does various other styles, as does Dee and Mo. And you're a funk musician. And do you ever get nervous doing the free stuff, knowing you're a funk, or is it just something that comes naturally, which you think then pass on to the kids?
I'm absolutely terrified. I was improvising yesterday working with the kids because I've never worked with kids before. And Orphy's always encouraging me to get involved in jazz and improvisation. I can improvise, but in my idiom. And when I get into a groove, then I'll go somewhere else. And I suppose that creating a little bit of order out of the chaos of the sounds and the music around is something that I enjoy. But what impressed me yesterday working with the kids was that within, I don't know, first 5 minutes, there was quite a lot of noise in the room. But I would say maybe 15 minutes later, there was a distinct order in how the kids were responding to the signs, which were guides, only guides, because we allowed them to express themselves through their instruments. And that really impressed me. By the end, everybody wanted to participate. Everybody wanted to do something, including one lad, little Tom, who had an idea of a bass line that he was playing on the guitar, and we allowed him to lead the rest of the class, and the class then accompanied him. And that was a little bit of magic that I'll always remember, and hopefully, I know they all had a lot of fun. Thank you.
So, without further ado, let's have some music.
Something from chaos. Is there order in chaos? Is there chaos in order? In England, we learnt a very new word for chaos. It's called Brexit. Calm in chaos. In the midst of the flurry, clarity. In the midst of the storm, calm. In the midst of divided interest, certainty. In the many roads, a certain choice. Mary Ann Radmacher. Let me bring peace into moments of chaos. Jonathan Lockwood Hugh. If your tendency is to make sense out of chaos, start chaos. Art in itself is an attempt to bring order out of chaos. Stephen Sondheim. I accept chaos. I'm not sure whether it accepts me. Bob Dylan. So, every creative act strives to attain an absolute status. It longs to create a world of beauty, to triumph over chaos and convert it to order. Rowan D. Williams. Tidy up your room. Your bedroom's always a mess. You always go to school late. It's always chaos. My mum. Chaos is a name for any order that produces confusion in our minds. George Santayana. invention, it must be humbly admitted, does not consist in creating out of voice, but out of chaos. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. I guess darkness serves a purpose, to show us that there is redemption through chaos. I believe in that. I think that's the basis of Greek mythology. Brendan Fraser. Chaos can be complete disorder and confusion, disarray, disorganization, pandemonium, madness, havoc, turmoil, tumult, commotion, disruption, upheaval, furore, frenzy, uproar, hue and cry, hurly-burly.
Hello? Okay, so just so you know, that was completely made up, on the spot, no rehearsal whatsoever. This is probably the second or third time these guys have played together in the last 2 days. So that just shows you what you guys can do with just a little bit of imagination and freedom and not thinking inside the box, always thinking outside the box. I think we've got about 2 or 3 minutes, so I'm going to ask Susanna to come up to the stage and just close off. But thank you guys, Orphy Robinson, Dee Byrne, Mohammed Nazam, Batchelor.